Balance the two. As a man, like learning to feel, understand your emotions, have emotional intelligence, but also be the one to act and make shit happen, make things, transpire when the time is needed. But just that calm sense of masculinity, being calm in chaos. It's not easy. It's challenging, but I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it. That's what makes those men stand out. And even some women too. Some women are very calm in chaos. Like I've seen, especially like some of the women of my family, like we would think that the leaders, like the matriarchs of my family, I've seen us deal with like death and something and seeing those matriarchs just not fold. Don't get me wrong, they'll have their moments, but they just hold firm because they understand that they have to be strong for everybody else around them. And it's appreciative at the same time. It hardens you. And that's the same thing.
He recently passed away, and he came up with the concept of that hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Why are some men never satisfied? Loaded question. And I would pose to state it to why are some males not satisfied as opposed to men who are never satisfied. I believe that we humans are never satisfied, obviously, because we keep getting a new iPhone, we keep getting new clothes, we keep getting new cars. Like, if we truly were ever satisfied, let's go ahead and get this part out the way, that if we truly were satisfied with what we have, we wouldn't be trying to get new shit, we wouldn't be trying to do new things, and that's just the name of the game. I would beg to say that it really depends on the person himself. Like, for me as a person who is ambitious, goal-driven, yes, never satisfied. And I won't be. Probably until I am in my, until I'm no longer here. Until I'm doing work in the next, in the next phase. But I'm going to take a stab that we're talking about never being satisfied with what a woman can do, provide, or just being in her life. It all boils down to our childhood makeup, honestly. If you never felt like you were enough, you treat people the way that you treat yourself. That's the short end of the story. And from my understanding of it, it's like if you never felt like you were enough, then the people are not going to be enough for you. It's like you don't give yourself the gratitude that you are enough. So you're constantly seeking more, constantly looking for something. Your fear of abandonment. So I must secure as much as possible so that it secures that I'm not abandoned. And when it comes to that of, I'll say a man that I believe we're referring to in this regards, is that him never being satisfied is still being the underdeveloped man. So essentially a boy, and that's why I wanted to rephrase it to males. Because there's two ways, I believe there's many ways of not for us males not being satisfied. Now, in the sense of like you're in a marriage or something like that, and the like what you have is just, it's not enough. That, that might be some personal shit that's going on. That's something deeper than what my spouse can provide for me. It's inner work, I believe, is where that's going. However, on the other side, as I was speaking earlier about somebody with goals and ambition, is never being satisfied, constantly working on yourself on a day-to-day basis. There's never enough information. You don't know enough then to be a pessimist. You don't know enough to say that you have everything figured out. It's part of being a lifelong student in this world that we live in. This life that we live is constantly learning new things. Everybody that you meet is coming with some information that you very well may not have, and it's best to kind of carry yourself in that conversation like that, coming in with your cup empty versus your cup being full. And if you go to the conversation with your cup full and they have something to pour to you, what's going to happen? It's not going to get there. You're not going to be able to receive it because you know every fucking thing. As Monique's character in Precious says, since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing, but like it's wanting to know more, and a sense of being a student. Yeah, just being a student. All right, so men never being satisfied. And I mean, the sense of what, attraction? Let's talk about males and attraction. It's just a scientific thing for us to recognize attraction. That being males and that being females, that being human in general. Men typically are attracted to fertile features about women. Big breasts, big ass, you know what I'm saying? Because it's childbearing, and big breast means that it gives the, obviously able to give milk to the child. Obviously we're not, even if you don't let your child breastfeed, it is a scientific thing in our brain to be wired towards looking towards those features on a woman, for those who are for males that are attracted to women. The concept of like never being satisfied, in the sense of it's never enough. It's because I truly just believe it's projection, solely just projection. If I don't feel like I'm enough, nobody else is enough. I may do that. I might be putting up this front, putting up this exterior to cover up my own insecurities about myself. So what I'm doing is making you feel as if you're not enough, because I believe that I'm not enough. And if I can make you believe that you're not enough, then I'll feel like I'm more. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's making people small so that you can feel big type shit. Big fish, little pond type thing. And I mean, like I said, there's no excuse for it. But to have an understanding of why we do things as humans, I think will take away some of that anger, frustration that we have. When we understand things, we tend to be less pissed off. So if you can educate me on why something occurs, I tend to be less frustrated. I tend to be less pissed off, less angry. Like I said, for some of us men, yeah, that is the case. As we say all the time, society does not accept us to come out and say that we're insecure about something. And rightfully so. I mean, we are men. We're meant to lead. We're meant to appear strong. Even if we are, we're human. We're going to go through shit. We're going to have down moments. But there's a specific crowd, specific group, place where you can go, an environment where you can go, and it can only be created from your own, like from your men, the men around you, the men that operate in their masculine, that is. And and give a safe space for you to kind of be like, yo, I'm not feeling very strong about this. And then we talk amongst ourselves, and then we build ourselves up, and we go back out there and we handle fucking business. Or you go to a therapist if you trust that too. That's an option. Or self-soothe is another one. But I don't recommend you making yourself look less less strong in front of your woman. I don't recommend that at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not every woman's gonna try to use your weakness to to capitalize on you and try to just take over and treat you like shit, kick you while you're down. But trust that it's out there. And for us as men, it's like once you lose respect, there's no love. That's another thing to keep in mind. For us as men, we deem respect as love. And if you do not respect me, then you don't love me. I don't give a fuck what you say out your mouth. Truth be told, that's the fact of the matter. Yeah, if you don't respect me, you don't love me. You don't trust me to lead. Don't tell me you love me. Yeah, you might love me like you have sympathy for me, but nobody respects a weak man. No one does. Not one person here. It's like having that of, having your boys there for you. They'll be there for you, but they're not gonna respect you being weak. Your mother, she might not respect you being weak, depending on the type of mother you have, or how much she tends to operate in her masculine, how she was raised and how she was made to view men. She's not going to allow you to be that weak person around her. She's not going to respect that. You're a woman. The time is ticking. She might be a little remorseful for you, but you best believe this is not a long-term thing of you being weak. The clock is fucking ticking, and that's just something to accept as a man. Is it right? It's not a right or wrong thing, but it is a thing. That's for sure. Long-term weakness is not going to work with life for a man. It hasn't from the beginning of time. Weak men create hard times. So Stephen Arnio, author, he's no longer with us in this life. He has passed on. I forget what he passed on from. He had an illness of some sort recently. I think it's like 2020, something like that. He recently passed away, and he came up with the concept of that hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And we're just in a process right now, I believe, where weak men create hard times. And we're less masculine, so we operate more in our feminine energy. And I believe our women are resentful for the simple fact that we operate more in our feminine, they operate more in their masculine. So it's role reversal that's going on here. Because a man having to put in work, a man does not complain about having to put forth a lot of work. Now, if a woman is doing most of the work for her family, you best believe you're gonna hear about it, because it's not even in her nature to carry that. That's not her nature to carry, to go to work as well as take care of the house. It's not meant for that. You know what I'm saying? There was essentially a balance to be created, and that's how I see it, at least for myself. But for us men, as we're referring to, who are never satisfied, like I said, it all depends on the man that we're speaking on, the man that you decided to be with. And if he's still looking at you like you're his mother, no. And then you want to know what type of relationship he had with his mother. If he had a neglectful relationship with his mother, you will never be enough. If he sees you as his mom, that is. And you have to understand who you're dealing with in that situation. Now, there's some of us men that look to our women to lead, which is ass backwards for me. And then there's some of us who look to our women for them to submit to leadership, not submit in slavery. There's a big ass difference in, a woman submitting to a man and it's like she becoming like a slave. Like I seen a TikTok where they'll be sitting with the dad of the daughter, and then the daughter comes up and goes like she's serving the guy and shit in front of her dad, and the dad, it's a prank, but the dad is losing his shit over that. And we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is trusting a man to lead, that type of submission, being that trusted with your masculine frame, with your masculine energy, the way that you carry it in a calm sense that allows a woman to feel safe that she will submit to you. And if you don't build yourself up that way, it's never going to happen for you. You just have to deal with the fact that she doesn't trust you to lead, and if you want to stay in this shit, she's going to be the one running everything. And you got to be okay with that position. If you're not okay with that position, there's going to be hell to pay, because you're just going to have two Rams, and you don't have two quarterbacks on the field at the same time. You have one, and one person has to lead, the other person must follow. That 50-50 shit that you speak of, sure. No, you enter one's frame. Somebody enters one's frame, whether that's the guy entering the woman's frame, or if that's the woman entering the man's frame, and you decide. Next time you go to the grocery store, next time you're out in public, next time you go to the mall, here's a social experiment for you. I want you to watch how couples operate that are together. Like, you confirm that they are together. And I want you to see who follows who. And you will determine what that helps you determine frame. Energy won't ever lie to you. You know what I mean? And somewhat off topic of men never being satisfied, but let me tie it in for you real quick. It's like, if I look at you like my mom, it's never going to be enough. Especially if I was very spoiled, or if I was very neglected, you're never going to be enough, and you're going to feel drained like shit, because I'm draining you. I'm an energy vampire for you. But if I'm operating in my masculine frame, I'm giving you energy. Now, what that means for you as a woman is to complement that man's life, the one that created such a frame that you don't have to worry about shit. Don't bring him shit. Like, when you're out in public, don't draw attention to yourself. Don't let your insecurities allowed. Don't allow your insecurities to fuck up your situation with that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's totally up to you as a woman, like, dealing with that. Don't get me wrong. Like, us as men, we got to carry our frame, and that's a strength in itself. That's a task in itself, a challenge in itself, to carry this masculine frame on a day-to-day basis. That it might not even come natural for us, because we may have never seen it. So to grow into that, to learn what it means to carry a masculine frame, to learn to be calm in chaos, to be the rock in the storm, it takes time, it takes work, it takes effort, it takes poise, it takes meditation. There's so many little things that you can do to hone in your emotions as a man, so that you can carry yourself in your masculine frame, so that everybody around you feels safe. Like, not being, you're not going out of your way to just draw attention to yourself. Again, insecurity is allowed. It's carrying yourself like you've been there before, Like, when you score a touchdown, act like you've been to the end zone before. Insecurity is allowed. People that are secure, fairly, they're quiet. But men not being satisfied. Men are not, like, those males you speak of, to me, are boys in that regards. If I'm correct in my assessment of what we're talking about here, those are boys. Those are undeveloped men looking for you to be their mother, and you were never designed to be your mother. A woman does not want a son. She wants somebody she can look up to. You know what I'm saying? In a sense of, like, direction in life. Who she can, like, somebody she can come to with with advice, and just navigating through life, and also, of course, to say that partner, somebody that's considered a partner. But understanding this, that one person must lead. You got to decide who that's going to be. The boys allow underdeveloped men, or men that just don't know, males that just don't know the concept of that is for us men to lead a household, us to lead in life in general, they will allow a woman to do so. They will defer to their woman for decisions and shit like that. As to where I believe men that lead, men that want to take on that challenge that so many women tend to take on of making the decision, those men lead. You have the courage to make a poor decision in making a decision. And by that I mean, like, we're gonna take this route getting to Houston. And then you find out that the route didn't get you to Houston, it got you to San Antonio, but you still have the wherewithal to go ahead and try to navigate your ass back to Houston type thing. Now, of course, a woman ain't gonna let you keep fucking up. Like, she ain't gonna let you get off the exit. Oh, damn, babe, we in Dallas. Oh, damn, babe, we in Corpus Christi. Nigga, we trying to get to Houston, you know? So it's like, there's only so much of that. But you gotta have the courage, though, to make mistakes and learn from them. And try and do your best not to make the same mistake twice. But there's a lot being said in this topic. I hope that I was able to cover why I believe men are not satisfied, and just understanding what the two bases that I covered. A man that is goal-driven and ambitious won't ever be satisfied. Constantly trying to better himself, constantly making himself better for himself as well as his surroundings, his families, his environment, and all of that. And then you have the other assessment of that of an underdeveloped man who is never satisfied, who wants to turn his woman into his mother. Why do men say you're the best thing to ever happen to them, then leave you for someone else? Loaded question. I'm enjoying these topics this time. But I would say that I believe he was feeding you what you wanted to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, as for me, I don't want to feed women that shit no more. You know what I mean? Like, just telling them what the fuck they want to hear. I'd rather tell you something that I actually mean, that's also kind or sweet and shit like that. Like, something you can literally hold against me and what I say. That whole, I want to give you the moon, like they used to say in the 40s and 50s movies and shit. I'd give you the moon if I could. What are you doing here? Get out of here. You bother me. But, like, to be with, to say something to someone and they really just run away with the illusion of what you're telling them. Now, it's not your responsibility for them coming up with illusions in their minds of what they thought you meant or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's best to be very, very precise on what you're saying when you're saying it to this woman. But a man stating that you're the best thing that's ever happened to him. There could be many reasons why he left and went to someone else. He very well could have been lying to you just to tell you what you wanted to hear, and then he found something that he wanted more and got with that. Or you had low self-esteem, which happens often. Women, we all do it, humans. You think that somebody is just too good for you, and because you're used to fuck-ups, and you self-sabotage. So you end up leaving something that might be valuable to you because you don't believe you deserve it. You don't believe you've earned this right to have this person in your life. And I think we've all been there, have done such, probably doing it now. But for that woman who is really like determined to figure out why someone did this, truth be told, your peace is more important. Your peace is more important than trying to figure out why some shit happened. Let's go ahead and get that part out the way. But regardless of why they did it, they did it. Just take it for what it is. They did the shit. They did it. They knew what they were doing. We all did. We all did. We all knew what we were doing. No, just accept the fact that you did it. That's really all. That's really all one can do as an adult. But to state that you're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and then go off with somebody else, to me, that's more along the lines of gaslighting. No matter how you put it. Again, are feeding somebody a dream, and I'm not a fan of that shit. I'm not a fan of that shit, and I know males are the verbal liars and women are the visual liars. You know what I'm saying? Like, your hair isn't that long, your eyelashes aren't that long, your lips aren't that pouty, that makeup is not your face, your nails are not that long. Like, you're the visual liar as to where the man is going to say whatever it takes to get you to buy the car at the dealership. Let's just call a spade with that. In most cases, that's what some do. However, I like to I'd rather share you what I'm actually thinking on my mind. I'm not feeding you. Me personally, I'm not going to feed you those lines to secure anything. I'm going to tell you exactly what I feel in the moment, and I'm not going to I won't allow you to run away. To the best of my ability, I won't let you run away with the illusion of me in your mind. What you see is definitely what you get. And sometimes it's what you want to hear, sometimes it's not what you want to hear. But at least you got an honest take from me. Like, that whole thing where a woman likes to ask, baby, do I look fat in this? I'm the one you want to ask. You want to know the truth? I'm going to tell you exactly my thoughts on that. And again, it's just my perspective. Now, if you take my perspective, and that's what you asked for, that's what you're going to get. Now, if you're looking to hear something to make you feel good, that you can talk to your friends. I mean, maybe they're good at lying to you about that. I personally am not a fan of doing so. But a man that tells a woman she's the best thing that ever happened to him, and then turns around and says, they leaves for another woman. We don't really get to speak for that person. Like I said, there's many unconscious assumptions that we can come up with as to why this man did what he did. But do you really want to hear it? Do you really want to know for sure? Because all you're going to do is compare it to your ego and how you feel about yourself. You're going to listen for the worst shit. You're not listening for the best shit. You listen for the worst shit. Your friends are going to tell you, depending on your friends and how miserable they are, that is. Now, if you got some healthy friends, they're going to tell you the upside things of that. They're not going to gaslight you and just, gas you up. But they're going to show you the upside. The friends who really don't give a fuck about you, and they care more about themselves and the fact that they're no longer lonely because you are no longer with somebody, and they have a partner, like to run around again, to go into the clubs and whatever it is, they're going to point out the negative shit that to focus on, and whatever you focus on, you feel, and that's just really, that's what it boils down to. A lot of times you really don't need to know anything. You just have to accept. And that is the hardest part, I think, for a lot of us, is accepting that our illusions have been distorted. We had this illusion, we had these expectations of people, and they are solely just going to be who they are, no matter what it is. Don't get me wrong, being around people and having affections and, having love for people, these emotions come up, these feelings come up, and it just feels very euphoric, and you just feel like, I never want to come down from this high. But when a person shows you that they're human, trust and believe that they're human. And it's not for you to tear them down. They're not responsible for the expectations that you had of them in your mind. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because we, like our childhood makeup, we still think the world revolves around us. But what we want might not be what another person wants. Truth be told. They might they might think that this is it. That, you know, that you're the one that they wanted to be with forever. They might not see you that way. And you have to be okay with it. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. Whatever you desire for, you suffer. If you didn't desire, you wouldn't suffer. Honestly, if you didn't desire a different solution, expectation, if you didn't desire a different expectation of what reality is, you wouldn't suffer. But it's tough. It's tough because we want things to go our way. We want this person to be there right then when we need it. They're not always going to be able to do that. We want that person to want us the way that we want them. They might not always do that. But if we love unconditionally, it won't affect us. But when we love with conditions, and we have this idea of a person, and when they don't love us the way that we thought that they would, then we suffer. We suffer from what we desire. And I would say for that young lady that went through this situation where she believed that this person was maybe thought this person was the one. Maybe she felt like this person was going to be the end all, the be all for her, which is fine. You know, it sounds like a great fairy tale. I prefer living by reality and amor fati. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that you're not able to create that fairy tale? But just keep in mind that the way your brain thinks is not the way another person thinks. And depending on what they've been through, they may go along with it because they're people pleasing. But that very well might not be how they really feel. They might just be doing this for fear of being left alone. Fear that you'll leave them, so they're just doing what you want them to do. And you might have this personality that's very domineering. And you're just like, we're going here, honey. Okay, baby. Find out if he wants it, too. Find out if he wants to do it. Fellas, find out if she wants to do this shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, it could be a lot of passive aggressiveness going on. And then a volcano forms from suppressing shit. Then it blows up. And you're the best thing that ever happened to me. But I'm going this way. I don't know, it's just something for everybody to think about. This shit that I ponder in my mind. But to that young lady who experienced that, you're enough. What that person did, that decision they made was not about you. It was about themselves. The battle that they're facing within. Yeah. And it's just something to think about. Yeah.
When you get on the airplane, do you tend to bring carry-ons or do you check your bags? I like to check my bags because I don't like waiting for people to get their carry-on out of the compartment. Like, some people move with no urgency. Some people move like they don't have no place to be, and the rest of us are just in their world. I'd like to be I like to have the least convenience in my control for myself and others. You know what I'm saying? Like, be older folk that don't know how to get their shit out the fucking compartment, short people that need help getting their shit because they done put it too high up. There's like so many things that go into the concept of bringing a check bag or bringing your carry-on. So if I can help it, I like to check my bags because I don't want to be an inconvenience to myself as well as others on the plane.
Why don't men know how to communicate their feelings? I would say that some men don't know how to communicate their feelings because society doesn't accept it. It has been more acceptable for a longer period of time for women to be able to express how they feel, to say how they feel, and understand, because they're more likely, more inclined to be emotional creatures, as to where men tend to run themselves run on logic versus emotional. But don't get me wrong. A lot of men making do some emotional ass shit. Like let's call it what it is. You ain't gotta check me, correct me. It's understood. But the man that you seek, the healthy male that you seek, is operating more on managing his emotions very well. So operating more on logic, but aware of his emotions. Don't avoid your emotions, because that's more childlike to neglect, to avoid your emotions, but knowing how to manage them and moving forward. Now, what I'm saying is that we don't communicate our feelings very well because it is not accepted. And the thing about being a man is that if you are not going to be respected, then you don't really feel the point of living, because our duty is to provide for you, for the kids, for dogs, whatever, for the household, families in general, like whoever's in your tribe, whoever you're dating, whatever the case is. It gives us great joy to be able to provide that for you, to provide the experience. I mean, it's really what money is about for me. It's not about buying the flashy shit. It's about having experiences. And I would love to have many experiences. So I like to work towards building myself up to where I can have said experiences. And it takes discipline. With men and us, and like our feelings, not being able to communicate our feelings. If you've ever cut a man off in conversation, he's not going to want to talk to you anymore. Not openly, I assure you. If you've ever dismissed a man in a conversation when you were talking, he's not going to want to talk to you anymore. Yes, I know. Men do it too. I know. Men do it too. This is not about taking a side. This is answering a question as to why men do not communicate their feelings. And truth be told, healthy conversation is speaking more on perspective than speaking from right and wrong. When you're talking to somebody and you're talking in a sense of right and wrong, the conversation ends once the person finds out they're right or finds out they're wrong. But if we're speaking to each other from perspective, the conversation keeps fucking going, right? And that's just something really for all of us to remember. Because even me, my ego is undefeated. It never sleeps. Even I, with all the studies I've wanted to do, my ego can get in the way on many things. And it's just having the courage to check yourself. Like, you know what? Your ego got the best of you there when you were in that conversation. You don't have it all figured out. You were meant to listen. You weren't meant to show what you know. You were meant to listen in that conversation. And then sometimes that happens. But not being able to communicate your feelings to that particular woman, it comes with the notion of, is the environment safe to do so? Do you carry yourself in a manner that somebody would open up to you? There's something to ask. Same thing. I mean, it works the same way for you. You're not going to open up to anybody and tell your deepest and darkest secrets that you deem them to be secrets, just information, knowledge, shit about yourself. You're not going to tell that to an environment that you feel judged, that you feel, you know what I'm saying, going to be abandoned. You don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to talk. Period. So if your man's not talking to you, chances are he don't feel fucking safe to do so. Now that's an unconscious assumption because every situation is different. I'm not gonna be able to speak for that. But if you yourself are not emotionally available to have the conversation that which that man has to say is on his mind, he's not going to do it with you. He will not. He may talk to his boys, May talk to his mom, may talk to his pops, depending on the relationship that he got. But he's not going to talk to you. And if you've ever dismissed him in a conversation, if you've ever made him feel like he was not valued, he's not going to talk to you. He might operate a version of himself that's functional to carry the marriage and shit, because y'all got kids, but he's checked out. He ain't fucking with you no more. Dead ass. He's not. Because it's really just about being seen, heard, and loved. And some people get it, some people don't. But if a man does not, it's already a challenge to allow men to speak their feelings, emotions, whatever it is, right? I can tell you how many times I get criticized for talking about emotions and shit doing this show. I don't give a fuck. I don't care anymore, because I don't look to be associated to a group anymore. I used to want to fit in and shit. Now I just belong. For those people that really fuck with me, they fuck with me because they think the same way and they grow from it. And that's just really what it is. But for a man to really feel safe enough, feel seen, heard, and loved, to share his thoughts in a masculine way, that is. Now, not coming out being, just like not talking emotionally, being able to express emotions in a masculine way. Does the environment suit that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going, like, if you got a group of fellas, that are constantly ragging on you and tearing you down and shit like that, you're not going to be inclined, even as a man, to kind of touch on certain things. But if you show that we can do both, we can rag on each other, and there's also a safe space to kind of talk amongst yourself as fellas, that's when that's going to happen. Now, I can speak on my brotherhood that I have with my boys from the military that we talk to. We used to work together, and we can shoot the shit. We can talk about music. We can talk about movies. Hell, we might even get into conversations about, I see that's some light skin shit. All right, that's some dark skin shit. Whatever it is, you know what I mean. But when we're going through something, whether it be with a woman that we're seeing, whether it be with the mother of our child, whether it be some shit at work, that place is, the environment has been set to where we can do so. And that's just humans. I believe that's just humans in general. So if you really want to have a man communicate his feelings to you, and you chose to be with somebody who does not know how to communicate, essentially you're getting what you want. You're getting what you get. You chase the emotionally unavailable. It's probably something tied into your childhood where you had a parent that was emotionally unavailable, and this seems normal. And you're just chasing the brass ring, trying to reach for some shit that's you won't be able to get to. However, if you create an environment with kindness, right? You gotta ask yourself, how are we talking to each other? Are we talking to ourselves lovingly, or are we talking to ourselves projecting pain on one another? Because if we're doing that, more than likely, we're not going to say how we feel until we turn into volcanoes and we explode, and we just say what we've been suppressing. But if you create an environment where kindness is there, and you don't talk to each other like you hate each other, you talk to that person like you love them, like you'd feel some type of way if something were to happen to them, it changes the dynamic, and then we're able to have conversations that we could not have before. That we can say. Now, if we're always making jokes where we're trying to be serious, do you think that person is going to want to open up? Do you think that person is going to want to share sensitive parts of themselves with you? If I'm constantly being torn down and laughed and ridiculed, no. But if we create an environment where a person feels safe enough to share what is on their mind without judgment, unconditional love, not unconditional tolerance, but unconditional love, when a person, you don't make it about you when that person talks. Whatever they say, it's like you asked, what's your favorite food? Now, mind you asked me what my favorite food. I tell you it's, cucumber salad, and then you turn around and say, cucumber salad? Who the hell? You've made the conversation about you. We're not talking about you. We're talking about me. That's what you asked. You asked about my favorite food, not to fuck yours. But we don't recognize these things because we're so used to not being seen, so we tend to make shit about us. And, you know, somewhat we can call it narcissism. We all have some form of it, and it may not be as severe or different forms of it, you know, but we tend to be in conversation and we'll turn it and make it about us because we're used to not being heard. So we're trying to take advantage of the situation. That just makes you human. It's nothing to like, oh, it's wrong that I did this. It's just something to think about next time you're in conversation. Like, how do you carry yourself? But why do men not communicate well? Is it safe enough to do so? Honestly, can you take what I have to say? That's another thing. Are you able to take the honesty of what I'm going to share with you when I share it? Because if you're not able to, then what's the point? Either way, that's just something to think about. I've enjoyed this episode. I really have, man. I had fun with this. Very thought-provoking. I hope that it was insightful for the viewer, you as the viewer. Thank you guys for always listening, weekly, daily, monthly, whatever it is, whenever you check it out, whether you check it out for a minute and leave the shit alone, or if you watch the entire episode. I'm extremely grateful for your time. But that's it. I'm out. Good night, kids.